Beep, 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 and welcome to the court of the Edijester. Hello, Jesterites, Twitterweeds, and people of Tinterweb. How are you? Another day, another dollar, another shirt with a dirty collar. Off we go. Buy me a coffee, click, subscribe, become warrior teacher. A woke and extremist culture has infiltrated the army, says Defence Secretary. This is by Will Jones in the Daily Skeptic from the 12th of February 2024. The Army's time and resources are being squandered to promote a political agenda, Defence Secretary Grant Shapps has said as he held crisis talks with military chiefs over plans to relax security checks to increase diversity. Oh my God. They want, oh my God. Right, so, hang on. I'm cold reading this, you know that, right? So I'm going to say it again, just so that you've got it. Because I'm not sure I have. Let me get this straight. Grant Shapps has said, as he held crisis talks with military chiefs over plans to relax security checks to increase diversity. My God. If there's any area in which you want these nutters out, if there's any area, Grant Shapps has said a woke and extremist culture had infiltrated the British Army and the military needs to focus on being a lethal fighting force. Absolutely right. What do you want, a non-lethal one? This is always an interesting argument with the women's, right? Because I always say to them, yeah, you want men who can kill, don't you? And they go, oh. But they do, they really do. And they really would if somebody invaded, right? And they really would if they were in a war zone now. They'd want men who could kill. Good men who know why we do it. He said that amid the threat from Russia and the conflict in the Middle East, it was inconceivable that he would allow the standards for security clearance to be relaxed after the Telegraph revealed military personnel wanted to relax checks to promote ethnic diversity. These idiots are in the army. What do you think is going to happen when they get in STEM? Building buildings, bridges, nuclear power plants. What do you think is going to happen? Woke is a dangerous parasite. On Sunday, Mr. Shapps spoke to senior military chiefs to express his concern about the plans, and on Monday will officially launch a review of ethnicity, diversity and inclusivity policies in his department. Good, Mr. Shapps. Is it Shapps or Shapps? Mr. Shapps. I'm right here, Grant. I'm right here, Mr. Shapps. Just give us a shout. Because I can see this from a mile away. I can smell it. Yep. The military is suffering a recruitment crisis and has repeatedly failed to meet its targets, including boosting women and ethnic minority numbers. No, just advertise that you can come and be in the military. We have a variety of roles. Come on. Don't start dicking around with this. How many soldiers you got? 2.5 million. Right. How many of them are competent? Maybe 1.8 million. Right. So how many didn't reach that competency level? Well, there were a few we took on. You know, we needed to fill some gaps. Don't do it. Don't do it. We're already seeing this creeping into our society. We've got incompetent people at every level. However, all three branches of the military have also been plagued by a series of rows over how they attempt to improve diversity. Stop doing it. Just advertise the damn job. Advertise that you can come. We take all, it's Broadchurch, the army, Broadchurch, last time I looked. Last year, Air Chief Marshal Sir Richard Knighton had to apologise for an RAF diversity drive that discriminated against white men. And then it's got a copy to the original article in the one I'm going to send you to, saying reading in full so you can actually look at it in a bit more depth. If only we'd had a Conservative government in power over the last decade to prevent the spread of this corrosive wokery in our key public institutions. The solution, of course, is to repeal the Equality Act and ban all EDI initiatives, insisting by law that all public institutions operate on impartial, meritocratic, function-focused principles. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly. When they set up UKRI, which is the funding body for science and technology and any of the academic establishments, 7.9 billion, the United Kingdom's Research and Innovation Fund, they changed the law. there was something called the Haldane Principle, which is not to do with the Women's Scotland thing, right? It's called the Haldane Principle, in which you operated on meritocracy. They removed that. They removed it. They knew what they were doing. That was Blair and his cronies. They knew what they were doing. If we end up with a situation in which we are asking the military to use equity, equality of outcome, rather than equality of opportunity, we've got a problem. We have a problem. And that's what's happening everywhere. We've got equity everywhere, and it's a disaster. This came up at the WRM meeting the other day I was at. Let me give you an example. High-end engineering. You're recruiting for a high-end engineering project, which requires people who are functionally nerdy, right? Who will look at a screw for 7 years, or investigate one way that, for example, a satellite may re-enter the Earth, examine just what happens when it hits the atmosphere, and do so for 7 years or more, and do so for life, effectively, looking at and understanding how, for example, we can ensure that satellites do break up rather than reaching the Earth. That's just an example. This is high-end technical stuff, right? And the number of people that want to do that are limited. You're going to end up with a limited pool. So equity would say, okay, we've got 8 positions to fill in this very, very specialist area, and they then send out their advert to all the necessary places to find these people, so the scientific or engineering journals, etc. And they have 41 replies. This is a hypothesis, I'm making this up. Hypothetical, right? It's hypothetical, right? So there you go. Then they get back the applications, and they receive 41 applications back, and they've got 8 jobs. And the EDI department says, yeah, you got 50-50 men and women. That's just the start, because then they go, oh, we want 2 people of colour. Right, okay, fine. So they interview them all, and it turns out that every single one of them that is anywhere near the competency level to be in the top 8 are all white men. Yep, can't have that. So they then go down below the competency level. They go down further, and they get to the first woman, and they go, right, we'll take them. So they end up taking, out of a small pool, any rate, people who are not the best to fill their diversity quota. And next thing you know, Chernobyl. And next thing you know, a bridge collapses. And next thing you know, a satellite hits a farmer in Texas. Meritocracy is all that matters. It's all that's ever mattered. Competency is what matters. It's all that's ever mattered. And we've got to stop, as a society, playing the intersectionalist game. It is a time for all quotas to go. All of them. Because what it's given us is incompetence. Let me know what you think. Am I right? Am I wrong? Have I infuriated you? Have I delighted you? Let the jester know in the comments. Other than that, become a warrior teacher. Buy me a coffee. I'll see you later.